In our modern illuminated world, a world that relentlessly prizes action, productivity, and the waking hours, we have come to see sleep as a kind of necessary void. It is a biological tax we must pay, a period of downtime where the great machine of the body repairs itself, and the conscious mind is, for all intents and purposes, extinguished. We speak of losing a third of our lives to this state of nothingness, a passive blank space between the days we actually live. We seek to conquer it, to shorten it, to optimize it with technology, treating it as an inconvenience to be managed rather than a mystery to be explored. We fall into it with exhaustion and are torn from it by the shriek of an alarm clock, rarely pausing to consider the profound journey that takes place in between. But what if this entire perspective is a profound and tragic misunderstanding? What if sleep is not an absence, but a different kind of presence? Let us ask the most fundamental question. Where do you go when you close your eyes at night? What happens to your soul, your core consciousness, your sense of self during those mysterious silent hours? Is it simply switched off, like a lamp unplugged from the wall, only to be reignited by the morning light? Or is it, perhaps, set free? Is the closing of your physical eyes the moment your spiritual eyes finally open, allowing you to embark upon a journey into realms as real and as vital as this waking one? To guide us on this exploration, we will turn to the life and work of one of the 20th century's most documented and profound mystics, Edgar Cayce. Known as the Sleeping Prophet, Cayce was a man who, in a deep self-induced sleep state, could seemingly detach his consciousness from his physical body and journey into other dimensions of reality. For over 40 years, he brought back a consistent, practical, and deeply spiritual map of these unseen realms. He was a conscious traveler in the very country that we all visit unconsciously each night. His insights paint a picture of sleep that is radically different from our modern conception. He reveals it not as a state of absence, but as a state of heightened activity, of profound purpose, of sacred communion. This is the central guiding truth we will explore together, the thesis at the heart of Cayce's wisdom. Sleep is not a void, it is a pilgrimage. It is the most important, most accessible, and most frequent spiritual practice available to humankind. Every single night, your soul is invited to embark upon a sacred journey. It is a pilgrimage back to its source, a journey through the different chambers of the mind, to engage in the vital work of healing the body, balancing the emotions, and receiving direct personal guidance from the divine, universal consciousness of which it is a part. This exploration is an invitation to transform your relationship with the third of your life you spend with your eyes closed, to see your bed not just as a place of rest, but as a sacred portal, a launching point for the great forgotten pilgrimage of the soul. If this vision of sleep as a sacred journey resonates with you, and you wish to explore more profound mysteries of the soul and the spirit, then our shared path has only just begun. This channel is dedicated to uncovering the deep, transformative wisdom that lies just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. To continue this exploration with us, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. And if you are already feeling the importance of this topic, leaving a like helps share this knowledge with other seekers. We appreciate your presence here. Now, let us delve into the map of the soul's journey that Cayce provided. To follow the soul on its nightly pilgrimage, we must first understand the landscape through which it travels. Edgar Cayce's cosmology of the mind is not one of complex abstract theory, but is instead a beautiful and intuitive map of our own inner being. He saw consciousness not as a single entity, but as a grand inner temple with 3 distinct chambers, each with its own purpose, its own language, and its own reality. The great journey of sleep is the soul's passage through these 3 chambers, moving from the outer court of our daily awareness to the holy of where we are one with the divine. The first of these is the conscious mind, the antechamber of our temple. This is the you that you know. It is your waking personality, your ego, your analytical and reasoning mind. It is a magnificent and necessary tool, the faculty that allows you to navigate the physical world, to make decisions, to learn, and to interact with the reality of time and space. But for all its brilliance, its primary function during the soul's pilgrimage is to become quiet, to stand down, to relinquish its vigilant guard. The conscious mind, with its constant chatter, its judgments, and its deep-seated belief in separation is the very veil that separates us from our deeper spiritual nature. To fall asleep is the first sacred act of surrender, the moment we willingly allow the guardian of the antechamber to rest, so that the soul may be free to travel deeper into the temple. Once the conscious mind is quiet, the soul passes through the first great doorway into the second chamber, the subconscious mind. Cayce described this as a vast and wondrous great library, a personal archive of perfect fidelity. Every single experience you have ever had in this lifetime, every sight, every sound, every fleeting sensation, every secret thought, every forgotten emotion, is perfectly recorded and stored here. It is the complete and unedited book of your current life. As the soul journeys through this chamber, it may review the day's events, process unresolved emotions, and connect experiences to reveal hidden patterns. But this library is also a hall of mirrors. It is where our personal biases, our unhealed wounds, our fears, and our repressed desires are stored. These unresolved energies can act like distorted lenses, coloring the messages that pass through, which is why many of our dreams can feel confusing, anxious, or chaotic. They are often the soul's attempt to communicate, but the message is being warped by the unresolved static in our personal subconscious field. Beyond the personal library of the subconscious lies the final and most sacred chamber, the destination of the pilgrimage, the superconscious mind. This is the throne room of the soul itself. The superconscious is the part of our being that was never separate from our source, the part that remains eternally connected to the universal consciousness, or what Cayce often called the God mind. It is our divine spark, our higher self. From this exalted state, the soul has access not just to its personal library but to the universal library, the Akashic records, the vibrational record of every soul's journey through all time. Here, in this state of profound unity, the soul's true work begins. It can commune with other souls, interact with spiritual guides, and most importantly, it can access the divine, perfect patterns for every aspect of our being. It can retrieve the original blueprint for our physical health, the pattern for our mental and emotional balance, and the divine plan for our spiritual purpose. The journey of sleep in its highest form is this sacred communion, a return to the throne room, where the soul bathes in the light of its own divinity and gathers the wisdom, healing, and guidance necessary for its continuing journey in the waking world. Upon its return at dawn from the deep, inner chambers of the mind, does not come back empty-handed. It brings with it a collection of stories, of images, of feelings, a mysterious and beautiful traveler's journal filled with dispatches from the realms it has visited. This journal is your dream life. From Edgar Cayce's perspective, dreams are not the random, meaningless firings of a resting brain, a chaotic clearing of the day's mental clutter. They are the soul's primary method of communication. They are carefully constructed, symbolic parables, rich with layers of meaning, designed to deliver the wisdom of the superconscious through the sometimes distorted filter of the subconscious, in a language that the conscious mind can, with effort and reverence, learn to understand. The reason the soul speaks in the universal language of symbol and allegory is profound. The superconscious realm, the soul's true home, is a reality of pure energy, of holistic knowing, a state of being that cannot be contained within the narrow, logical confines of human language. A symbol, like a sacred vessel, can carry a far greater depth of meaning than a simple word. A dream is a story that speaks not to your intellect, but directly to your heart, your gut, your very soul, bypassing the critical, analytical censor of your conscious mind. To learn to decode this sacred language is to learn to read the letters your soul sends you every single night, letters filled with guidance for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Consider, for example, a common dream archetype. A person is driving their favorite car, a classic convertible, down a beautiful sunlit coastal road. They feel free, happy, in control. Suddenly the engine begins to sputter, black smoke pours from the hood, and the car grinds to a halt, leaving them stranded and frustrated. A literal interpretation seems absurd, but from the Cayce perspective, the car is one of the most frequent and reliable symbols for the physical body. The soul, having journeyed to the superconscious realm and compared the body to its perfect divine blueprint, has noticed a discrepancy, an imbalance. It sends back a loving, practical parable. The engine, your digestive system perhaps, or your lungs, is running poorly. It is being given the wrong kind of fuel and is in need of maintenance. The dream is not a prophecy of doom, but a piece of preventative healthcare advice from your own inner physician, a message from the part of you that knows exactly what your body needs to be whole. Or perhaps you have a recurring dream of being lost in the house where you grew up. The rooms are rearranged in strange ways, familiar hallways lead to unknown doors, and a persistent feeling of anxiety or of searching for something lost pervades the dream. This is a story being told from the great library of your subconscious. The soul on its nightly journey is navigating your personal history and has encountered an unresolved emotional pattern, a complex from your past that is still active and is subtly distorting your present reality. The locked door may be a repressed memory. The strange arrangement of the rooms may symbolize how that past issue is still affecting your current psychological structure. The dream is a gentle invitation from your soul to consciously revisit that period of your life, to understand what old fear or belief is still running the show, so that you can heal it, integrate it, and allow your life's energy to flow freely once more. And then there are the dreams that feel entirely different. They are imbued with a luminous, coherent quality, a profound sense of peace and significance that stays with you long after you awaken. You may dream of flying effortlessly over a breathtakingly beautiful landscape, feeling a sense of absolute freedom and joy. You may dream of meeting a radiant, wise being, an angel or a guide, who looks at you with immense unconditional love and offers a single, simple and perfectly clear piece of advice. According to Cayce, these are often not symbolic parables, but are more like direct memories of an actual experience your soul had in the superconscious realm. These are glimpses into the throne room itself. The feeling of flight is the memory of the soul's freedom from the dense physical body. The wise being is a real communication, a moment of divine guidance. These dreams are pure gifts, intended to inspire, uplift, and reassure you on your waking path. Every dream, therefore, from the most mundane to the most majestic, the most frightening to the most blissful, is a purposeful and loving communication. It is your soul's nightly report, a traveler's journal filled with the precious, practical wisdom needed to heal your body, balance your mind, and fulfill your ultimate purpose. To know that your dreams are a traveler's journal, a collection of sacred, symbolic stories brought back from the deepest realms of your being, is to hold a key in your hand, but a key is only useful when you learn to consciously turn it in the lock. If our soul embarks on this pilgrimage every night, how then do we prepare for the journey? How do we ensure the messages we receive are clear? And how do we ask for the specific guidance that we need most in our waking lives? The wisdom of Edgar Cayce provides a clear, practical, and profound methodology for transforming sleep from an unconscious event into a conscious, co-creative spiritual practice. It is the sacred art of preparing for the journey, a series of disciplines that turn your bed into a portal and your rest into a revelation. The entire process begins before your head ever touches the pillow. The first and most vital practice is that of setting a pre-sleep intention. You must begin to see the act of going to bed not as a collapse into exhaustion, but as a deliberate and sacred departure on a specific mission. This requires a period of quiet preparation. In the moments before sleep, turn away from the chaotic stimulation of the world, the screens, the news, the worries of the day, and enter a state of peaceful, prayerful contemplation. In this quiet space, you formulate your intention for the night's journey. It must be a clear, specific, and heartfelt question or request that you wish for your soul to carry with it into the superconscious realm. Your intention becomes the North Star for your soul's navigation. Perhaps you are facing a difficult decision that your conscious mind cannot resolve. Your intention might be, tonight, as my body rests, I ask that my soul be shown the path that is in highest alignment with my purpose and the good of all. Perhaps you are struggling with a physical ailment. Your intention could be, I ask to be shown the perfect pattern of healing for my body, and for this divine pattern to be impressed upon me as I sleep. Or perhaps you seek to heal a fractured relationship. Tonight I ask to understand the deeper karmic lessons between myself and this person, and I ask that our connection be healed in the light of divine love and understanding. You hold this intention in your heart, repeating it gently as you drift into sleep. This act is not a demand, but a loving and respectful commissioning of your own higher self. You are giving your soul a destination, a sacred mission to accomplish on its nightly pilgrimage. The second practice is the faithful and diligent keeping of a dream journal. As the soul returns at dawn, its messages, which are couched in the ephemeral language of symbol and feeling, can dissipate like mist in the harsh light of the conscious analytical mind. To honor and capture these precious dispatches, you must have a journal and pen by your bedside ready. This simple physical act is itself a profound statement of reverence. It is a signal to your subconscious and superconscious minds that their communications are valued, that they are being taken seriously, and that you are ready to listen. The moment you awaken, before you move a muscle, before you check your phone, before your logical mind begins to build the story of your day, you must lie still and invite the fragments of your dream to return to your awareness. Write down everything, no matter how strange, how nonsensical, or how insignificant it may seem. A single color, a fleeting feeling, a nonsensical phrase, a bizarre image, all of it is part of the story. Do not attempt to analyze or judge as you write. Simply be the scribe, the faithful recorder of your soul's report. Once the messages have been recorded in your traveler's journal, you can begin the third practice, the art of interpretation. Cayce insisted that the dreamer is always the best and final interpreter of their own dreams, for the symbols used are drawn from the deep well of their own subconscious and are tailored to their unique understanding and life experience. To decode the parable, you become a gentle detective. First, look for patterns over time. Are there recurring symbols, people, or places in your dreams? These are likely key elements in your soul's current curriculum. Second, pay closest attention to the feeling of the dream. The emotional tone is the most direct clue to the message's intent. Was it a warning, a reassurance, a call to action, a moment of profound healing? Finally, with a spirit of gentle curiosity, hold the dream in your heart and ask the great question. If this dream were a symbolic story written just for me, what is its moral? How is this a parable about my current waking life? How does this symbol relate to my health, my work, my relationships, or the very question I asked before I fell asleep? Through this sacred and disciplined art, you transform from a passive dreamer into a conscious interpreter of your soul's wisdom, turning your 8 hours of sleep into a profound and continuous source of personal guidance, healing, and grace. We have traveled together through the forgotten landscapes of the sleeping self, guided by the profound and gentle wisdom of Edgar Cayce. We began by reclaiming sleep from the mundane world of biology and restoring it to its rightful place as a sacred nightly pilgrimage. We journeyed through the 3 great chambers of the mind, from the guarded antechamber of the conscious ego, through the vast personal library of the subconscious, and into the luminous divine throne room of the superconscious soul. We have learned to see our dreams not as chaotic fantasies, but as a traveler's journal, a collection of rich symbolic parables designed to heal, guide, and illuminate our path. And finally, we have learned the sacred and practical arts of this journey, how to prepare our vessel with a clear intention, how to receive the soul's messages in our dream journal, and how to interpret their loving symbolic language. Now, at the culmination of our exploration, we arrive at the ultimate purpose of this entire process, which is captured in the simple, beautiful act of waking up. The goal of the soul's nightly pilgrimage is not to escape the waking world, but to profoundly enrich it. The final and most sacred art is that of integration. It is the conscious act of bringing the light, the wisdom, and the healing of the superconscious realm back with you as you return at dawn. It is the process of weaving the profound truths of your dream life into the fabric of your waking day, until the hard, illusory line between your dream self and your waking self begins to dissolve. When you live this way, the guidance you receive in your dreams begins to flow seamlessly into your waking intuition. The emotional balance you find in the stillness of the night smooths the rough edges of your day. The perfect divine patterns of health impressed upon your body in sleep accelerate and support its natural restoration. This is the great transformational call offered by this wisdom. It is an invitation to cease treating a third of your life as a passive, empty void, and to instead embrace it as your most potent, most personal, and most accessible spiritual practice. It is a call to see your bed not merely as a piece of furniture, but as a sacred altar, a portal to the divine, where you can lay down your conscious burdens and allow your soul to do its most perfect work. It is an invitation to see your dreams not as meaningless nonsense to be forgotten, but as holy scripture, a personal and continuous revelation written in a language of symbols tailored perfectly to you. by the wisest and most loving part of your own being. It is ultimately a call to trust, profoundly and completely, in the infinite intelligence and healing power of your own soul. So, go to your rest tonight, not with the weariness of a day that is ending, but with the sacred anticipation of a journey that is about to begin. Formulate the question that matters most to your heart. Offer it to the stillness, to the darkness, with faith and with love. Trust that as your body finds its deep and necessary rest, your soul, your true self, will begin its great and purposeful work, traveling to the source of all healing and all answers. And when you return at dawn, with the faint, beautiful and strange echoes of your journey still shimmering in the quiet corners of your mind, be ready. Have your journal in hand. Greet the messages you receive with curiosity and with gratitude, for you have returned not just from a night of sleep, but from a direct communion with the infinite. And the wisdom you bring back is the precious luminous thread of light with which you can weave a healthier body, a more peaceful mind, and a more beautiful soul-directed life.